Imagine this. You're cruising at 30,000 feet on a packed international flight. The seatbelt sign is off, flight attendants are serving drinks, and everything feels normal. Then, a passenger collapses mid-aisle. At first, everyone thinks it's a medical emergency. But within minutes, screaming erupts. The man stands up, eyes glazed, skin pale, and sinks his teeth into the nearest person. Trapped in a metal tube in the sky, you've just witnessed the first moment of the zombie apocalypse. Welcome back to the channel. Hit that like button if you love these what-if breakdowns, subscribe so you don't miss our next scenario, and drop your wildest apocalypse theory in the comments. Now buckle up, because today we're exploring what would really happen if the zombie outbreak started mid-flight, and how quickly it could spread across the entire globe. Day 0. The flight from hell. Airplanes are the worst place to contain a virus. Everyone is sealed in, breathing the same recycled air, and panic spreads faster than oxygen masks. If one infected person makes it onto a plane, they could infect dozens in hours. Imagine trying to subdue a zombie in a narrow aisle, while people stampede toward locked cockpit doors. Flight attendants aren't trained for this kind of chaos. Let's say the pilot makes an emergency landing. Where do you land? If you touch down at a major international airport, congratulations. You just unleashed the apocalypse in one of the busiest hubs on Earth. Thousands of travelers scatter to trains, taxis, and buses, each carrying a ticking time bomb inside them. The first 24 hours, denial and chaos. At first, news reports would call it a mystery illness or violent incident. Governments love to downplay crises, but social media would blow up instantly. Imagine shaky cell phone footage of a blood-covered passenger gnawing on someone's arm. #ZombieFlight would trend worldwide in minutes. Hospitals near the airport would be overwhelmed as bitten passengers stagger in. Doctors wouldn't know what they were dealing with until they tried to restrain a patient who suddenly lunged and bit a nurse. By then, it's too late. The virus is out. Meanwhile, regular people like you and me, we'd panic. Grocery stores would be stripped bare. Gas stations would have mile-long lines. Pharmacies raided. Experts recommend at least a 2-week supply of essentials, food, water, and medicine. But let's be honest, how many of us actually have that ready? Martial law. The government strikes back. Within 48 hours, governments would declare martial law. Airports shut down, flights grounded, borders sealed. The military would flood streets, enforcing quarantines, sometimes violently. The CDC or WHO would scramble to identify the pathogen, but they'd be fighting the clock. Researchers studying outbreak models agree. Time is the most critical factor. If the infection isn't crushed in the first few days, the odds of humanity's survival plummet. Some simulations show society collapsing in less than a month. Survival Phase 1. The urban collapse. For those trapped in cities, survival becomes a nightmare. Fast zombies? Entire city blocks could fall in hours, like World War Z's tidal waves of undead. Slow zombies? Maybe you'd have more time, but panic and rioting would kill just as many as the infection. Let's say you make it home in time. What's your plan? Do you barricade the doors? Grab your bug-out bag and head for the countryside? If you don't already have supplies, flashlight, water purifier, first aid kit, portable radio, canned food, you're already behind. Fuel would vanish almost instantly. Experts joke that in an apocalypse, good gasoline will be rarer than gold. A bicycle might actually be the most reliable vehicle you own. Quiet, no fuel needed, and it won't draw attention. Zombie types, the deadly difference. Here's the big question. What kind of zombies are we dealing with? Fast zombies, World War Z style, you can't outrun them. The only strategy is stealth. Stay hidden, move quietly, and avoid detection at all costs. One scream, one barking dog, and you're done. Slow zombies, Walking Dead style, easier to outmaneuver, but they never stop coming. Over time, even the slowest horde can corner you. Experts agree. Stealth and silence always beat brute force. Guns may help short-term, but gunfire is loud. It draws more zombies than it kills. Bladed or blunt weapons become far more valuable. Survival Phase 2. Safe zones and betrayal. Weeks into the outbreak, survivors would start forming groups. Hollywood loves the lone wolf hero, but in reality, survival depends on community. Someone knows first aid, another knows mechanics, another is good with farming. Together, you stand a chance. Alone, you won't last long. But here's the dark side. Not everyone can be trusted. Desperation breeds cruelty. Some survivors would hoard resources, raid others, or form violent gangs. In an apocalypse, the living could be even more dangerous than the dead. Military desperation, nukes, and science. By month 1, militaries worldwide would be stretched thin. Major cities might be firebombed to slow the spread. Rumors of secret labs working on a cure would circulate. Imagine underground bunkers where scientists experiment on captured zombies, racing to create a vaccine. Would governments use nukes on their own soil to wipe out infestations? History suggests they might. In outbreak simulations, researchers found that only overwhelming force, consistent and ruthless, can truly stop the undead tide. The psychological war. Even if you survive physically, the mental toll would be brutal. Imagine endless nights with no electricity, no internet, no news, just silence, and the occasional scream in the distance. Trust erodes. Paranoia grows. If someone in your group gets bitten, do you mercy kill them or risk everyone? This is where humanity's true test begins. Experts on disaster psychology say crises can either unite people or shatter them. In some cases, fear brings out compassion. In others, it turns neighbors into enemies. The twist: hope or horror. Let's fast forward 5 months. Most major cities are ruins. Survivors cling to isolated safe zones, farms, remote islands, maybe even oil rigs offshore. Trade posts emerge, bartering food for batteries, medicine for ammunition. A new kind of society starts to form. Then comes the announcement. Scientists may have found a cure. But here's the twist: it's not a drug. It's genetic. A tiny fraction of people are naturally immune. Their blood holds the key. Suddenly, those rare survivors become the most valuable resource on Earth. Do you protect them or exploit them? Now the apocalypse isn't just about survival. It's about power. The real lesson. So what if the zombie apocalypse started on a plane? The truth is, we wouldn't stand much of a chance. The virus would spread globally in days. Cities would collapse in weeks. Only small, prepared communities might survive. But here's the kicker. Zombie apocalypse stories aren't really about zombies. They're about us. They teach us to prepare, to value community, to stay calm when everything falls apart. Civil defense experts even use zombie scenarios to get people thinking about disaster preparedness. So maybe the real question isn't, what if the zombies come? It's, are you ready for any crisis? Tell me in the comments. What would your survival plan be? Would you stay in the city, flee to the mountains, or try your luck on an isolated island? And remember, sometimes the scariest part of the apocalypse isn't the dead. It's the living.